everybody, and welcome to the next video in this video series, What Does Limitless Woman Mean to You? So I am really excited to introduce my next guest that I have, Deb, and I will introduce her in just a moment. But the first thing I want to say to you is welcome. And if you haven't been on my page before, this is a video series where we talk about this question, what does limitless woman mean to you? And just get some insight from many different women, many different walks of life and experiences, where we can really just share what does it mean to you. And as a matter of fact, on that note, if you have some thoughts on what this means to you, I'd love to hear from you. I'm always looking for more people to chat with about this topic. And if you work out of the home, work in the home, have your own business, work and whatever your life experiences, I would love to hear from you on what this topic means to you. And so my name is Princella Stringer. I am an empowerment coach, and that's the focus of this series, focused on you and just inspiring women to live out their life in the fullest that they can by learning about other women and what limitless woman means to them. So on that note, I want to introduce my next guest. This whole couple of the couple of videos that we've had in the last couple of weeks, is what I want to say, has been really focused on our speakers that we will have in our event on August 17th here in Benton Harbor. And Deb is the third speaker that we've had to come on this video series to share her thoughts on this. And so I'm really excited for you all to meet her and hear what she does. So on that note, Deb, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Sure. Hi, everyone. So I'm Deborah Mousseau. I have an interesting background. I spent the last 20 years helping entrepreneurs run and grow their businesses, mainly in accounting and finance, and sometimes operations too. And I used to be an industrial engineer. So I love working with business owners and entrepreneurs. It's fun. I love crunching numbers. So yes, I'm a nerd. I do basically all things finance, and I now teach classes and go around speaking, and my two biggest subject matters are a strategic life and a strategic business. And the strategic life is, I wrote this class originally called Financial Fitness in 90 Days, right? And it was all about finance, because even though I've helped companies, and I mean, I've seen all kinds of horror stories. I came from General Motors, so I came from corporate America, and 20 years ago started working with small businesses, and it's completely different world, completely different mindset. And I really want to talk about mindset today too. If I get off, please remind me to go back to that. But
that's what it's all about, isn't it? Mindset. As a matter of fact, I'd love to have a little piece of your brain with the financial aspect of it. Oh my word. It's a challenge.
Mindset is incredible. It's so huge, but I've seen entrepreneurs, they'll go bankrupt, they'll do this, do that, like all kinds of crazy things. I've seen them pull guns on each other. It's like, it's insane. But running a business is one of the most exhilarating things you can ever do. It's also one of the best ways to build wealth too, if that's where you want to go. But it's also what you were meant to do. Like, not everyone's meant to run a business. So to me, a strategic life is figuring out who you are, what you were meant to be, what your purpose is, and it's really easy. There's things you can do to, God left clues. It's like you have certain gifts and talents and strengths, and honing in on what's right about you and what's good about you and focusing on those things, that's what's important.
Beautifully said. And I'm not surprised that you ended up shifting your business a little bit to mindset and things like that, because we can have all these gifts and talents. I think every business owner can attest to this. We know we have strengths and gifts and talents, but then when we go to make those next moves to grow our business, start our business, talk about our business, this little voice back there is like, who are you? You can't. That's not good enough. And that's rough. Mindset is huge to get over those obstacles.
That little voice, it is. There was a TV show when I was a kid, right? And the main character, he was a cartoon, and he had a little devil on this side and a little angel on this side. And I do not remember the name of that show. I mean, it's eons old. I was a little kid, and I just remember that. And we have those voices in our head. Everybody has them. It's not like nobody gets to do without, right? They're there. And it's a question of who are you going to listen to? There's the negative voice and there's the positive voice. And it's like, there's one thing, and that's one thing we'll be talking about in August, the power of your words, the power of the words that we talk about ourselves and our lives, and also the stories we tell ourselves. Because truly, in my mind, the only limits that are ever going to be placed on you come from you.
Yes.
The only person that can limit us is us. And the biggest battle you're ever going to fight is right up here in between your two ears. That is the
not agree more. Oh my word. Yes. So good.
I don't know why. It's taken me 50 years on this planet to figure it out. But seriously, when I first started my business, I would go to my clients and I'm like, here's my invoice. Could you please pay it this week? You know, and 10 years later, I'm like, here's my check. Sign it today, please.
Yes.
Like, so I just expect it. So my expectations have changed, but also my attitude and everything. Like, you know what? I'm worth it. I've done a good job. Here's my thing. I need to get paid today. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Now they just pay me automatically. I send an invoice electronically and boom, I'm paid within 10 minutes. So.
And no qualms anymore. You know, when you're sending that invoice, now it's like, okay, time to get paid. That's it, right?
And no question, like, oh, is this too much, or am I worth this? You know, we all have those doubts, and it's like, the question is, are you bringing value to your clients? Are you bringing value to the people in your life? That's our job. And the other thing is, if the best way to eliminate doubts is, one, know who you are, know what you do, know your strengths are, and we'll get into that. But also, just be excellent. I don't care what you do. You know, you might be a beginner, be the best you can be at that point in time. You're going to mess up. You're going to make mistakes. I've seen people make $1 million mistakes. I had one lady, I got to tell you this, 4 bankruptcies. I kid you not. 4 businesses, 4 failed businesses, 4 bankruptcies, had a horrible credit score, couldn't even get a merchant service account to process credit cards, had to go through somebody else to run credit cards for her company. Took it to 20 million in 2 years.
Wow.
20 million. But she didn't give up. She didn't give up.
That's the next thing I was going to say. Feeding off of what you're sharing is not giving up. Because those voices, they can take over. And I love that little visual you gave of the little devil and the little angel on one side, and who are you going to listen to, right?
Yeah.
So, huge. On
you
that
know
note,
go ahead. No, you go.
Okay. No, I was going to ask you, I was going to get into my next question, which is because all of that set me up perfectly to ask the question about Limitless Woman and what that means to you. So through this journey of your business ride, the learning and growth that you did, the learning and growth that you've seen with your clients, and I'm really curious to hear what you say about Limitless Woman and what that means to you.
I love that question. I love the word.
But when we think about it, you know, and I'm sorry I don't mean to cut you off, but this is what's so fascinating about that, because we live and breathe it once we get to that place. But talking about it is a challenge, and it's deep. It is so deep.
It is, and it does really make you think, because don't we all want to be unlimited? I mean, I do. I want to be able to do whatever I want to do, not in a selfish way, like it's all me, but I want to create this company. I want to create that company. I want to affect people. And I think that's one thing I don't think, the way I see the world going today, like people want to do what they want when they want, and they don't want any consequences. There are consequences to everything you do. There are absolutely consequences. Everything we do affects somebody else. And I'm kind of going off topic a little bit, but I was in a restaurant one day, and this lady was just treating the waitress horribly, horribly bad. And maybe that woman was having a bad day or whatever, but the waitress was ready to burst into tears. And the patron got up and left. And the waitress came over, and I stood up and I said, you know what? I said, you look like you need a hug. And I just gave her a big fat hug there. And I'm like, everything we do affects somebody else. And so, but limitless to me is, we should be able to be who we are, and play up our strengths and live life unlimited, other people can put up roadblocks. I'm not saying life is easy. I'm not saying someone's not going to put you down, or that we don't have issues with, females being discriminated against or people of color or anything like that. There can be, sometimes others can place limits on you. It's up to you whether you accept it or not. It's up to you, because you know what? If there's a roadblock in my way, I'm either going to plow it down, go around it, or jump over it or something. But if I really know what I want to do and I really know what I want, I'm going to go get it. Period. End of story. And that's the mindset you need to have as the limitless woman, to me.
Right.
But going after my goal and doing what I want doesn't mean hurting people along the way. It means helping them and building them up. My being the best I can be should not take away from anybody else. Because if it is, then I'm doing it with the wrong motivation and the wrong heart. And that's the other thing. I think if you really want to be limitless, that you gotta, I've been working on this a lot lately, because I've been stretching and growing. And that's one of my themes in my life. And one of the things that I teach people is, I'm an industrial engineer by training. So I grew up in the 80s, and continuous improvement was a huge movement back then. It was mainly in Japan, and it came over to America. But I teach entrepreneurs how to have values in their business, right? And how to bring their values into their business, because we should. Our values should be reflected. They're reflected whether we like it or not. I had one couple, they had 300% turnover in their business. And the woman was horrendous to work for. She was like, not Martha Stewart. Who's that other lady on Wall Street? I forgot her name. She was known for like being really, really bad to the employees, being really stingy. Like this was this woman on steroids, right? Turns out she was like basically borderline sociopathic.
Is that true?
Turnover. Yeah, I read the definition. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is what's wrong here. It's not. She's like, well, my employees are not loyal to me, and I'm like, you're not loyal to your employees. There's no way. She wanted them to work 8 to 6 with no lunch. I'm like, you can't do this. This is illegal, but it's also immoral. But getting back to your value thing, the one thing I value is continuous improvement and continuous self-development. The way I take my value and put it in my business is when I have employees, they want to take a class or go to a conference, I will pay for it. The company will pay for it. I don't want to hold anyone back. I want everyone to continually develop themselves and become better. Because isn't that life? Isn't that why we're here?
Yeah, absolutely. And as leaders, when we are in a position of leadership and we're the example, it's a learning process that we go through as leaders, how we present ourselves, how we treat others, and upcoming leaders learn how to become leaders from who they're watching. So I think we're really doing a disservice when we're really in a selfish state of me, and not really thinking about the whole picture and how everybody else is affected in that process. But when we build that resiliency, which happened to both of us as we shared earlier, as we build that resiliency to be able to speak our voice, know what we stand for, know what we value, then we can really transform what is happening in our environment just solely off of how we respond and react and think and believe about our presence and how we react to that negativity, how we react to even positivity. I mean, you can have something really great happen to you and you look at it in a negative light, or have something negative happen to you and look at it as a growth opportunity. And so that's really key. Our mindset, where we're at in our frame of mind when we're walking into a situation and we're walking away from a situation.
Yeah, that's true. And it's like, you know what? We all tell ourselves stories about our lives and our past. Yes. And some people, sometimes we look at our past or our life or even our current life and we look at it negatively. Like, you know what? You can walk into your job and go, you know what? I hate this job. I don't want to be here. I'm not going to be when I'm working, da, 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 da. Or you can walk into the same job on a different day and go, you know what? I love my job. I love my boss. I'm so happy to be employed and having a good income. And it's the same job. The only thing that changed was your attitude. Yeah. Now, you can have a jerk boss. You can be in a bad company, in a bad situation, but how you react to that will kind of gauge where you go from there. Because even if it's a bad atmosphere, if you're the good apple, if you're doing good and treating people well, and it's not always easy, your values get tested when you're under fire or in a bad situation, right? But if take the high road, stay the course, live out your values. You know what I mean? If you treat people well, even when they're treating you badly, and it's not easy. You get to a certain age, there's days I have where I just want to smack everyone over the head with a frying pan.
We all go there. We all feel that way sometimes. You know what? I got to share with you one of my favorite quotes, all-time favorite quotes, is by Eleanor Roosevelt. And she says, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." And the moment I read that, it clicked with me so deeply that, wow, I allow whatever these feelings are that started to fester up in me. I allowed it to be whatever it was, negative or positive. And knowing that we have a choice in that, I think that's what made each of us kind of fall in love with this industry of coaching and helping people and empowering them to think differently and choose to internalize it differently.
Yeah, and you know what? We don't really deal with mindset, not in school, not just like finance. I mean, I teach finance, and it's like I can't teach finance without dealing with people's psychology. But those are two very huge areas, and we don't really deal with them. They're not really dealt with the school system, and I don't know that parents are even empowered to deal with it at home.
Ooh.
You can only teach what you know.
Yes. As a matter of fact, that was another question I have for you. Are there some influences in your life that really inspired you to grow into this mindset that you have today in your business and in life?
My biggest influences growing up were probably my grandma Schwartz, because Grandma Schwartz was born in 1908, and I loved when this is so funny. When microwaves came out, which is, all the young people are like, what do you mean when microwaves came out? They don't even remember the days before cell phones, but technology is changing so quickly, things change. So when microwaves came out, I'm in high school now, and we're talking, Grandma had a pool, so we'd go over to Grandma's house and go swimming. And we'd go in and we'd like nuke food or do microwave popcorn, and we'd use the word nuke because we'd like, okay, nuke your food, right?
Right. We said that.
Grandma asked my mom one day, and she's like, what do the kids mean when they say nuke? And she didn't know. But so my mom explained to her, well, they're using the microwave, they're nuking their food, like, which is funny. You would never say that now. She was born in 1908. She put herself through college. She became an RN. She put herself through college. She did not get married. Back then, women got married. They didn't have careers. She put herself through college, became an RN, then got married, had her first baby at 32. Now, this was a woman born in the early 1900s. Her family came down from Canada. And, she used to live out in the woods, and they had shotguns in case the wolves came out to the door, It was that scary. But, so things changed drastically during her lifetime. They're changing drastically during our lifetime.
Yeah.
But
so in other words, going against the grain is like in your blood.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, that did not mean I didn't have issues, because I had been an employee all my life. And I think the biggest mindset change I had to make was going from the employee and having I didn't realize how badly my self-esteem was wrapped up in my paycheck, right? But to go from an employee to a business owner, to make that shift. And then even from a business owner, because small business owners and entrepreneurs are still two different types of things. Small business owners, lawyers, doctors, attorneys, it's more of a brick and mortar thing. They're locked in, right? Mm-hmm. But being an entrepreneur, it's online, it's another mindset change. It's Richard Branson thinks a completely different way than Mary Barra running General Motors. It's just very different. So.
Yeah, and speaking of that, your grandma, wouldn't it be amazing to hear some of the thoughts that she had going through that herself, and what were the challenges she faced? How did she feel about them? What did she do to overcome them?
I wish she were still alive today, that I could ask her those questions,
Yes.
But also, I think my dad. Go ahead.
I think that's why it's so important to have these conversations too, so that people know that we all go through that. And just because you have, if you're listening right now and you're listening to our conversation and we're sharing these stories with you, if you've ever been sitting in self-doubt about what is possible for you, what what you are capable of achieving. You know, I love Deb's advice in talking about our strengths, that we all have strengths and talents. And when we focus on those strengths and talents and continue to believe that we have them and we're capable and we can do something with these. And I've always believed that these are true gifts. And it's kind of a disservice to ourselves and the people around us when we don't really utilize the gifts that we're naturally good at, you know.
Yeah. I've seen people that fail and businesses that fail, they're not aligned with their strengths. They're trying to do something they weren't meant to do in the first place. And I realize sometimes times can be tight and you take a job just to take a job, or you pick up a client because you need the money. But that should be a short-term thing. Don't get comfortable. Don't get settled there. You know, figure out what your purpose is and then go do it.
Yeah, excellent. That's an excellent point, because I think that some people believe that that's a step back, or it's the wrong direction to have to accept something temporarily. But when you go in with the right mindset that this is temporary, this is to get by, but I'm focused here, it's hard to divide up our focus. But when we're doing what we need to do, it nurtures the mindset in that whole process.
Yeah, and you know what the other thing is sometimes you take 2 steps back before you can go forward. You know, you will have setbacks, and sometimes sometimes it looks like you're going in the wrong direction, but you need to go in that direction to get to where you're really supposed to go.
Amen.
Life,
yes.
When I was in college, it's like, didn't you think like, oh, you get out of college, you get a job, you just, like, life goes like this, right? I hope you can see it over the screen. You're here and you just keep going up and better and better and better. This is life. Yeah. This is what it really looks like, especially the life of an entrepreneur. You know, it's you never know what life is going to throw at you. But if you know what, it really comes down to love. Because if you love yourself, if you really love yourself and love who you are, then you can love others. Loving yourself doesn't mean being selfish. It means knowing who you are and what you have to offer. And if you love yourself, then you can love others. And at the end of the day, that's what it really comes down to. And you know what? I do want to say something else about the Limitless Woman, because you sent me the question ahead of time, and I was like, wow, who are my role models? And my dad's a role model, and I have to say a lot of my role models have been men. But I started looking out there, and I thought, other than Oprah Winfrey and possibly Sarah Blakely, the owner of Spanx, who's an incredible businesswoman, but I don't know that much about her personal life, I was like, two things come to mind. I don't know that many limitless women, and I'd like to see more. And I think we need to work on that. I think women have been held back, but I think we hold ourselves back, right. You know? Right. My mentor and I talk about this because there's been studies done, and men will apply for a job if they're like 75, 80% qualified. Women don't apply for the job unless they're like 110, 120% qualified. Like, we don't give ourselves enough credit, and we aren't as willing to take risks or jump out there. And sometimes we just need to jump out there. But I want there to be more limitless women on this earth. I want us to raise up more limitless women. I want to take that mindset and change it and teach people how to be the best version of them. You know?
Right. You know, and so that takes me back to the event that you're going to be coming in for on August 17th. And this is one reason that I'm so thrilled about the event, not only the timing of the event, but how everything just came together. You've been a part of this process from the beginning when I first reached out to find speakers that would be willing to come to Michigan specifically for this. And I felt like everything just aligned perfectly with speakers that touch on different areas where a woman can really get held up and not going after her goals, you know. So we have you that will focus on mindset and business, correct? That we have another speaker that will talk about pain and pain management, another speaker that will talk about health and fitness, another speaker talks about trauma and then how that affected her and how she has now transformed her life. All of this have gone through transformations in our lives. And I think when we all get together, share the stories. You know, to be honest with you, when I did my first event in February, I did it scared. I'm like, you know, I'm doing this. This is the way that I'm going to kickstart and just get going in the things that I'm passionate about. When I first started my business, and I wonder if you can add anything to this, I started it scared. But then I also, at that point, realized that I had to step back a little bit and do some work on myself. You talked about self-love. I wanted to feel 100% good about myself, and where I'm at, what I'm capable of doing. And so we can have the setbacks, and then we can get right back on that horse and figure it out. When it's something that you're meant to do, it will not go away. So sometimes taking those steps, doing things scared, starting the process scared, learning and growing, being open to learning and growing, and continuing to work on the mindset is really where it's at. It doesn't matter if you want to be an entrepreneur, or if you want to raise, or if you want to make a decision to stay at home with the kids for a couple of years, or stay at home. No matter what the decision is in life, sometimes we just have to do it a little scared and continue to work on ourselves in the process.
Do you know what the definition of courage is?
Tell me.
That it's being scared and doing it anyway.
Oh,
everybody is scared.
I
I have mentors making 20 million a year, right? They were scared when they first started. And you know what? They still have the same issues that we have, because they're constantly stepping out, creating new products, doing new things. And it's like, you'll still fall. You'll still have mistakes. I mean, the one guy, he told me, he's like, Deb, I gave a speech and my fly was open the whole time. And he's like, I was like, but you know what? It's good to know he's not afraid to say he's human. Just because you're up there, they're knocking it out of the ballpark doesn't mean you don't have snafus and have bad days, But he broke through those barriers, those mindset barriers. You break through one, then you got to break through another. It does not make you perfect. Even if you're at the top of the game, you're still not perfect. But, we need to get rid of perfectionism. And the other thing is you said something, comparison. Comparison is the death of dreams. Do not compare yourselves to somebody else. Because you might be an empowerment coach, there might be 10 other empowerment coaches. There's probably hundreds. None of them can do exactly what you do. And none of them are going to touch people the way you're going to touch people. So you've got people out there that you can talk to that I can't talk to. So that's
and on that note, I hope that really empowers somebody today. If you're thinking about doing something that you're not sure where you fit in that arena, but it's not going away, you can't stop thinking about it. Keep continuing to empower yourself through knowledge, and keep growing your knowledge base, keep building your resiliency on overcoming the obstacles that kind of pop up for you and get in the way. I think it's so important what you just said, Deb, because we can easily go into comparison mode for everything that we do. I mean, there's so many good things about social media, but that's one of the things that is just really tough to mentally break through in the beginning. If you don't allow yourself to think about how this pretty post that somebody put up, which there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with showing the good and the fun that's happening in your life on social media. I think it's fun to share the fun stuff. But if we start thinking that that's the way their life is all the time and everything's perfect, hunky-dory all the time, then we're kind of missing out the true experience of life,
Yeah. If that idea or that passion doesn't go away, that's what you're meant to do. But also write it down. Yes. People that write their dreams down, whether it's a poster board or a vision board, or you write it down just in words, whatever works best for you. Everybody learns a different way, right? Everybody responds a different way. But write it down. Writing your dreams down, writing your goals down, just writing it down. You had a lady at a Dominican Republic University did a study on her students, and if they just wrote it down, didn't even do anything, if they just wrote it down, their chances of it happening or coming through 42% higher. 42% just by writing it down.
Just writing it down.
Vision boards are important for a reason.
Yes. So on that note, again, I want to talk about the event. And so just inviting you as a viewer, if you're watching this and hearing this video today, check out the link that we have in the event page on the speakers that we will have on August 17th, the schedule. We'll be offering a light breakfast and a lunch, and you also get fed lots of good information like what Deb is sharing today about some obstacles that we've each faced, you know, as speakers, as we're sharing our life journey with you. And then we want to be able to hear some more about what your life journey is and what you're going through. And so the event is all about really empowering women to live their best life. And each of the speakers really brings something really valuable to the conversation. And so I'm excited about that. I'm excited about having you, Deb, to come out for the event. And
come join us. You will have a lot of fun.
yes, yes. And at the end, you'll have a chance to connect with Deb. So if there's anything that she said here today that you're interested in talking more about and continuing that conversation with her about, you'll have an opportunity to do that on August 17th. And as a matter of fact, if you have any questions today, even with this video, you can drop a comment here as well, and we'll get back to you on that. But take a look at the event page and see if it's something that as a matter of fact, I was just going to say if it's something you're interested in, but who would not be interested? The plethora of speakers that we have is so amazing. I'm so excited and I'm so grateful that everybody's coming for it. On that note, also, I have one other thing happening. I don't think I shared this with you, Deb, yet, but I'm running a challenge on my page, and the challenge is called Empowering Gratitude. And so we talked a lot about empowerment, and we talked about a little bit about gratitude. Also, you mentioned that earlier, but empowering gratitude is really huge, and it really helps with the mindset also. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can watch for that on the event page as well. But I really want to thank you, Deb, for joining me and having this conversation with me and really bringing up a lot of good goodies about what you're going to talk about at the event. And yeah, it was huge. It was hugely helpful, and I'm grateful you were here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me. And I can't wait. August 17th is going to be fun.
Yes, it's going to be fun. We'll see you then.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.